On everybody? Welcome. I am Brad Gilmore. I'm doing this video because I thought that some things needed to be further explained. I had a fantastic week, and I think it was a fantastic week in the world of pro wrestling because guess what? Something happened that people claimed was dead. A lot of people I saw on comments from the show last night, heated conversations, a lot of people said, kayfabe lives. I don't know if I'd go that far in saying what all happened with Booker and Corey Graves was kayfabe living, but it was a fun situation, and I thought we if we didn't explain it clearly enough in the show or on the show last night, and if you haven't checked it out, go to iTunes, find Heated Conversations. Booker T clears the air with Corey Graves. You can go on the Reality Wrestling YouTube page and see the video of the interview with Corey Graves. But let me just take you back to the beginning. This is how all this went down. We were doing our show live, and here's the thing. Sometimes we do heated conversations, Booker T and myself. Sometimes we're 100% live on Sports Radio 610 here in Houston, Texas, and sometimes we're a pre-tape show. So we were doing the show live, and we have sort of bullet points of things that we're going to talk about, right? We don't plan out the entire show segment by segment, scene by scene all the time. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But a lot of the times when it's just going to be Booker and I, we have like 5 or 6 bullet points. Hey, we can talk about this, we can talk about that. And we just kind of let it run. Whatever happens naturally happens. So we get to the last segment. Booker was a little under the weather. His sinuses were acting up on him just like mine are right now. We get to the last segment, and we're in commercial break, and Booker turns to me. He's like, hey, what are we going to talk about in this last segment? I'm like, I don't know, Book. Hey, you were just, moved off of Raw, so let's talk about that. And here's the thing. We did a live stream for Reality Wrestling and WrestleZone. Shout out to WrestleZone.com, Nick Hausman. We did a live stream just 2 days prior to this where we discussed Corey Graves. And Booker was like, I know a lot of people out there think I hate Corey Graves, but I don't. And so because there are all these long-standing rumors of Booker and Corey. They don't get along. They hate each other because of stuff that was said on commentary. And for people who don't really realize, me doing commentary for Reality Wrestling with Matt Topolsky, sometimes I play that heelish line on TV. And with Matt, he and I, we know it's all for fun. So if I think I called him last night a failure at life, but he's not going to take that seriously and then have heat with me after the show. And any guy who takes what's said on commentary and has heat with you over it, you know the word for him. So anyway, we played into it a little bit, and I said, why don't you talk about how you're not on Raw anymore? Now, there was nobody happier who I talked to on Monday, the day that Jonathan Coachman took over for Booker. I talked to Booker that Monday. I was in Los Angeles, and he said, hey, man, guess what? I'm off commentary. And I could hear his smile through the phone. That's how big his smile was. I could hear it through the phone. I was like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah, they got me back on pre-shows now. And I was like, hey, man, well, how do you feel about that? He's like, oh, I love it. I love it, and it's not like he disliked doing Raw commentary, but let's not forget, David Otunga went to film a movie, and they came to Booker and they said, hey, will you fill in for 6 weeks for David Otunga? 6 weeks passed, and I told Booker, I'm like, it's going to be longer than 6 weeks because you're going to get back there. It's going to be fun. Cole, Michael Cole has been on Heated Conversations as well. He and Booker have a great relationship. Cole's come down to Reality of Wrestling before. So I was like, Cole's going to love working with you. You've worked with Corey before. You're going to be there longer than 6 weeks. And I think Otunga's movie I think the schedule was delayed a little bit, so it turned into 8 weeks. And then, they said, hey, we're going to keep you through the summer. You know what's going on right now. We're just going to let you get through SummerSlam. And then that turned into, well, let's go through the end of the year. So the plan was always in December 31st that was going to be the end of Booker's run on commentary. And then they came to him and they said, hey, a couple more weeks. And a few weeks went by, and Book's like, okay, I'm still on commentary, and there was discussions had, and he and here's the thing, Booker wants to work on reality of wrestling as much as possible, and that's his passion, that's his baby, that's where he and I obviously met and worked together on. And so when the decision was made, hey Book, we're gonna put Coach in front of your seat, he was excited about it. He goes, great, Jonathan Coachman. He's a broadcaster. This is what he does. I can work on reality of wrestling more. I'll still be involved with the company because Booker loves the WWE. He loves the fans. He loves the company. He loves everything that they do there. And, obviously he wants to remain part of the WWE family. So this was a win for everybody. He gets to work with Renee Young again, whom he loves, and they have a great chemistry together. And so this was a win for everyone. So I said, okay, Book, why don't we talk about, how you're not on Raw anymore? And he goes, yeah, okay, we'll do that. So we start doing the segment, and then Book starts, he just starts being Booker. And anyone who's ever worked in any capacity with Booker T, he knows, or they know, this is just, he jokes around, he plays around, he has fun with it. And that's what he was doing here. He was like, hey man, if I catch Corey Graves on the street, I'm going to tattoo him. I'm going to run up on him. I'm going to do something to him. I'm going to hurt him. I'm going to beat him till that man says, please, 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 just don't beat me no more. And it was all, and then we played a Migos song called Walk It Like You Talkin'. Walk It Like I Talk It. A Migos song. Quavo. Takeoff. Offset. We played a Migos record, and we were just, Booker was doing ad-libs to the Migos song. And then we played the Macho Man Randy Savage diss song to Hulk Hogan. Dig it. We played that, and we were laughing and joking, and I was like, oh man, that was a fun show. And so we say goodbye. I leave the studio. I wake up the next morning, Super Bowl Sunday, and I check Twitter, and it's all over Twitter that Booker T hates Corey Graves. And it was a couple of these sites over in the UK that picked it up, and then everybody started running with it like it was real. And they took a 2.5 minute clip, and I'm trying to find exactly. I thought I wrote down the name of who picked it up, but there was this 2 minute clip, and it kind of sounded like it could be true a little bit, right? But you would think that if you're some sort of journalist or you write for a wrestling site or what have you, you'd listen to the full audio and then realize, oh, nobody talks like this. I mean, even Booker, I know Booker's always had a sense of legitimacy to him and his character, and he really seems like he could whoop you if he wanted to, because he can. But there was nothing in here to where it sounded serious. So you'd think that if you're a journalist, you'd be like, oh, okay, obviously he's just playing around. So the story gets big, then it gets bigger, and then I'm checking and I'm seeing it on Forbes, seeing it on Sports Illustrated, USA Today, SB Nation, and everyone's reporting it like Booker T is threatening Corey Graves. So I call Booker and I say, hey man, have you seen this? He goes, what are you talking about? So that everyone thinks that what you said to Corey last night on the show, they think it's real. I was like, do you think we should put out like a statement saying it was all a joke or something? He goes, no, run with it. Let them do whatever they want. Who cares? So the story turned into something bigger. Excuse me, sinuses. So the story turns into something bigger than it was ever intended on being. And all these publications start picking it up. And then, the Meltzers of the world, whom I am not a particular fan of, he says, oh, well, it could be a work. It might not be a work because there's no payoff here. What's the payoff? There's no payoff. No payoff. And, he says, but, Booker and Corey really hate each other. But little did what everyone know. And I don't want to call anybody out really, but, I know Sports Illustrated also put up a post saying that they can confirm that there's real tension here. But Booker did this as a way to get extra heat on Corey on his way out. And everyone was passing it off as either absolutely legitimate or this was constructed by Booker and Corey, to get Corey some extra heat because he's the heel commentator. Neither of which are true. They're both false. So I'm reading all this stuff over the next few days. I'm like, wow, this is so funny. And Booker calls Corey Graves on Monday before Raw. I was like, hey, man, have you seen all this? And Corey's like, this is awesome. And he's like, let's just keep going with it. So Corey tweets out the tweet. There was the Art of War tweet. And then people are like, oh, what? And then Corey throws the great shot on Raw of "Be careful, coach, or you'll be doing afternoon local radio," or whatever he said. It was all funny, but people bought into it. They thought it was real, as real could possibly be. So there were tweets that Booker was getting, tweets that Corey were getting. They were absolutely ridiculous. And then you have guys like I think his name is Justin LeBar, who is, throwing shots at Booker, saying that, Corey's the great commentator and Booker, how, you should, know better, shucky ducky quack quack. And I'm like, wow, all these guys are getting like worked. And even Taz got on his show that he goes, there's not one iota of a work here. There's no work. This can't be a work. I have a good sense about this. There's not a work here. Russo bought into it. I heard many other people bought into it. Even Michael Cole asked Corey, what's going on here? And it got to a point where it's ridiculous. But this is what I wanted to clarify. There was no grand scheme here. There was no, oh, yeah, we called Corey and said, hey, Corey, we're going to do this angle on our show. You feed into it. It's going to be awesome. We were trying to kill 15 minutes of time because we had nothing to talk about. We had absolutely nothing to talk about, and we were just trying to kill time. That's all. That's the only thing that this was about, was killing time. And you gotta love wrestling. And I love wrestling fans. I absolutely adore them. But this is one of those situations where the dirt sheets, the pundits, the boys, and the fans, they all worked themselves. There was no working by Booker and Corey. This was Booker obviously joking, and then people took it seriously. And the fans and the listeners and the wrestling world at large, they worked themselves into a shoot. That's all that happened. That's all it was. It wasn't intended to get Corey more over. It wasn't intended. I saw some people say it was intended to get publicity for Booker's radio show. That was a happy byproduct. I'm not going to lie to you. Number 31 podcast in the world right now. Pretty cool. But that wasn't the plan. The plan was, how do we kill 15 minutes and make it entertaining? And we did. And, then Corey came on, and obviously it's all squashed now, and it was all a big joke that people took seriously. And Corey said that we had the hottest angle in wrestling, or Booker and Corey did. Obviously, I'm just a fly on the wall for this entire thing, but it was fun. And it was fun to see the people like Dave Meltzer and all the other pundits think that they know and had no idea. This wasn't a WWE thing, and people were talking about, the New Day shots. I heard Taz say, well, Vince and Triple H probably cleared that, to play to the inside wrestling fan. It was all jokes. And anyone who has ever met Booker T in their life knows all he ever does is love to joke around and laugh. And if you listen to the full segment on Heated Conversations, the segment that blew up and made worldwide news, it was Booker T being Booker T and just joking around. And people taking him seriously. So I just want to set the record straight, tell the full story of exactly what happened. Corey Graves is awesome. Love Corey. We did a live show in Los Angeles, Booker and I, and Corey Graves was one of our special guests. It was incredible. It was incredible. And so check out Heated Conversations, by the way. Booker T and myself are releasing a live album soon of that show in Hollywood, full uncut, because we cut about 40 minutes out of the show that aired on the radio and the podcast. So there's about a 2-hour show there that we're going to let the fans hear in its full entirety. That's coming to iTunes, Tidal, all that stuff soon. So be on the lookout for that, as well as the Booker T Roast, the Roast of Booker T, featuring guys like myself, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, Bruce Pritchard, The Undertaker, Chris Jericho, Jim Ross, Rob Van Dam, Bubba Ray Dudley. List goes on and on. Stevie Ray. List goes on and on and on. It's coming out on audio as well. Same places. It'll be an album that you can stream, buy, download, the whole 9 yards. Coming very soon, probably by the end of the month. So be on the lookout for that. Follow me on Twitter at Brad Gilmore. Follow Booker T at Booker T5X, and subscribe to Heated Conversations on iTunes. Give us 5 stars and a nice little rating. Thank you for making this last week so entertaining and so much fun for all of us. I think we all got a big laugh out of it. And who would have thought that 2 commentators would have had the hottest angle in wrestling for 7 days? So until next time, I'm Brad Gilmore. Thanks, guys.